של המים, ורק השמיים תפתח האדם החול וחיים ריש ראש של המים ורק השמיים תפילת האדם. My God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, a rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayers of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the prayers of the heavens, the prayers of the heart.
Well, family and friends, thank you for coming out today to honor and celebrate the life and memory of Barbara London. My name is Lynn Goldsmith, and I am a rabbi and also a friend of the London family. And with me is Maxine Grayboys, who is also a friend and a cantorial soloist. And I know it will not surprise any of you that Barbara arranged this well months ago. So death has come to Barbara, as it has come to all living beings. Death brings to our minds and hearts the common concerns and the shared destiny of humankind. We're drawn together by deep felt emotions and are reminded of the essential oneness that lies beneath the many divisions of humanity on the earth. For death levels all distinctions. Author Mitch Albom famously said that death ends a life, but not a relationship. Barbara is no longer with us, but she will live on in the hearts of those of us who knew her as a wife, as a mother, as a grandmother and an aunt, and for many of you here as a friend. The relationship may not be in person, but will live on in the memories you have of her or in the conversations you'll have with others about her in the days and weeks to come. However, there is no denying that this time of physical separation will bring anguish and grief, especially to Andy and David and Adrian and their children. We ask God to allow consolation and strength to come to the family and all who are gathered here this day. And God, bless us with your tender mercy now and always. And let us all say, Amen. Mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love another human being. And even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit that our loved ones give us cannot be measured or weighed. They cannot be lost or even tarnished by time. And even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and their warmth will be with us always, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. And if you're one of Barbara's family, or if you were fortunate enough to be her friend, there is a piece of Barbara that will always, always be with you. Outside, there were some sheets of paper with Psalm 23 on them that were next to the podium where you signed in. If you have the sheet, please read it with me. If you don't, you can say whatever version you know. This is Psalm 23. God is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. And even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. The crown of a good name. There are three crowns our sages taught us. There's the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of royalty. But the crown of a good name excels them all. And I chose this reading because of Barbara's wonderful personality and how she affected all of us. Blessed is the person who lives with a good name and departs this world with a good name. Our ancient sages taught, the righteous need no monuments, their good deeds are their memorials. The earth of the grave does not cover them, and the hand of time does not erase them. The good kindness they have shown. Oh, great.
Start again. I will start this part again. Oh, that's loud. Therefore, our ancient sages taught, the righteous need no monuments, their good deeds are their memorials. The earth of the grave does not cover them, and the hand of time does not erase them. The kindness that they have shown, the love that they have given, remain in everlasting remembrance. Their achievements are more lasting than granite. Their devotion are an enduring legacy. And a traditional psalm of comfort, Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give away. Your protector will never slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither sleeps nor slumbers. God is your guardian, and God is your protection. At your right hand, and the sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. So with Job, we say, Adonai Natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one who will never be forgotten. And for all that was good and enduring in Barbara's life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust, before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and your love. As we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach, blessed is the name of God, now and forever. It has been said that to live a life of fulfillment, we need to have something to do, something to hope for, and someone to love. And by that definition, Barbara lived a very full life. Barbara always had something to do. In fact, over and over again, she told all of us in her last months of life that she wanted to live her life until she no longer could. She grew up in Brooklyn. She went to college in Manhattan. Beginning in college, she became politically active. She marched in demonstrations, living what we might call a hippie life. She even went to Woodstock. And as only Barbara could, she relayed that despite all the wonderful music that we hear even today from the Woodstock celebration, it was a pretty miserable festival to attend. There was very little food and water. And of course, the first night it poured rain on the largely unsheltered crowd. So she and her friends left the second day, deciding that the good music would be okay, but the venue was way too uncomfortable to stay. Barbara had an amazing career trajectory. She majored in education and did teach in New York and Central Harlem. But after being sent to a school system where she would not have been happy, she used her MA in counseling to work for the Red Cross. She eventually became the person in charge of all the New York City fire victims and was also working with homeless veterans. In the late 1970s, when computers were becoming more ubiquitous in the workplace, she learned COBOL, went into investment banking, a very male-dominated profession, was amazingly successful, and eventually she went into consulting, using the connections that she had made in the working world. Barbara was politically active. She was active in synagogue life. And for all of us who live at Anthem Ranch, we saw her often in exercise classes, on the pickleball court, in Active Minds, in Ideas Worth Discussing, right to the very, very end. Barbara meant it when she said she was going to live her life until she couldn't. The second element of a fulfilled life is something to hope for, and many of us find hope in the future. Barbara's future was cruelly cut short, and many of us would be very despairing with a future measured in weeks rather than in years. But as Barbara said many times, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to live my life. She and Andy chose to move to Colorado to be closer to their son, David, and his family. Family was a part of her hope, and I do believe we don't bring children into the world where there is no hope. But Barbara's life of activism and cracking the glass ceiling spoke of a life of her hope in the better world. And being the child of Holocaust survivors certainly shaped the life she lived. Studies have shown that the generations following the Holocaust survivors many times have a resilience that we can all envy. And I know watching how Barbara handled her devastating illness with acceptance and all the planning ahead as much as she could so that David and Andy would not be burdened was inspiring. She even arranged for a substitute to officiate at her funeral should she die while I was away on a long-planned cruise, and then called me to tell me who it would be. The third element, love, Barbara had in abundance. She had many, many friends. She loved people. She was a one-person membership chairperson in her New York synagogue, where she ensured that new members were integrated into the synagogue community. She made many friends quickly once she and Andy moved to Anthem Ranch, but her main loves were her husband, Andy, and her son, David, and his family. She and Andy lived in the same block, actually, in the Upper West Side. But even with that proximity, they had to be introduced by a mutual friend. They had a small wedding, and for whatever reason, people, including her own parents, did not think that the marriage would last. It lasted 50 years as of December 1st of this year. They were wrong. Barbara told me that she thought Andy was very, very special, that there were always equal partners in all aspects of their marriage, and he was never negative about anything. She also said the best thing that Andy did for her was to convince her to have a child. David was one of the best decisions she ever made, and David and his wife, Abrian, are the parents of the apples of Barbara's eyes, Gavin and Ellie, who is over there. The only regret that I heard her utter about her situation was it made her angry that she would not be able to watch Gavin and Ellie grow up. And I'm sure that David and Abrian are also upset that Gavin and Ellie will not grow up knowing Barbara. Barbara made it very clear to me, I mean very clear to me, that she was not a spiritual person. And she would be surprised if I told her I think that she was more spiritual than she knew. Spirituality is not just a belief in a higher being. It's how you live your life and how you love and how you are loved. Barbara loved and was loved by her friends and family. And as we all know, love never dies. Let's take a few moments of silent reflection to remember the memories that you all have of Barbara, or to pray to God if that's what you wish to do.
So far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. יש אנשים שזיו זכרם מאיר, כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד בתוכנו. Potete amavikim bicheshvat halayil. הם שמרים לאדם את הדרך, הם שמרים לאדם את הדרך.
Well, this will conclude our formal service. I've been asked to announce we are going to be going out to the cemetery, but it will just be the family that will be there at the burial. But this afternoon, there will be a Shiva actually at Andy's house at 4622 Belfort Circle in Broomfield. And that will begin at 4 o'clock, and you all are cordially invited to attend that. And now Joya from the staff will let us know how we're going to leave.
So we have a little bit of time if you want to mingle, but we'll have guests. You're dismissed, and then the family and I will head to the cemetery. And I hope that you all join them later this afternoon to share memories. Thank you for being here today.